CPUs on March 2, 2017, 169 mid-range Ryzen 5 series CPUs on the 11th of April, 2017, and entry-level Ryzen 3 series CPUs on the 27th of July, 2017. 170. AMD later released the EPYC line of Zen-derived server processors for 1P and 2P systems. 171. In October 2017, AMD released Zen-based APUs as Ryzen Mobile, incorporating Vega graphics cores. 172. In January 2018, AMD has announced their new lineup plans, with Ryzen 2. 173. AMD launched CPUs with the 12nm Zen Plus 174 microarchitecture in April 2018, following up with the 7nm Zen 2 microarchitecture in June 2019, including an update to the EPYC line with new processors using the Zen 2 microarchitecture in August 2019, and Zen 3 slated for release in Q3 2020. As of 2019, AMD's Ryzen processors were reported to outsell Intel's consumer desktop processors. 175. At CES 2020, AMD announced their Ryzen Mobile 4000 as the first 7nm x86 mobile processor, the first 7nm 8-core, also 16-thread, high-performance mobile processor, and the first 8-core, also 16-thread, processor for ultra-thin laptops. 176. This generation is still based on the Zen 2 architecture. In October 2020, AMD announced their Zen 3 CPU. 177. On PassMark's single-thread performance test, the Ryzen 5 5600X bested all other CPUs besides the Ryzen 9 5950X. 178. Both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X use chips based on the Zen 2 microarchitecture, with proprietary tweaks and different configurations in each system's implementation compared to what AMD sells in its own commercially available APUs. 179. 180. Graphics products and GPUs. AMD logo. SVG. Advanced Micro Devices Graphics Processing Unit Radeon R200 Series, 2001. Radeon R500, 2005. Radeon HD 2000 Series, 2007A. Radeon HD 3000 Series, 2007B. Radeon HD 4000 Series, 2008. Radeon HD 5000 Series, 2009. Radeon HD 6000 Series, 2010. Radeon HD 7000 Series, 2012. Radeon RX 200 Series, 2013. Radeon RX 400 Series, 2016. Radeon RX 500 Series, 2016. Radeon RX Vega Series, released 2017. Radeon RX 5000 Series, released 2019. Radeon RX 6000 Series, released 2020. ATI prior to AMD acquisition. Lee Ka-la, 181. Francis La, Benny La, and Kwok Yuen Ho, 182, founded ATI in 1985 as Array Technology Incorporated, 183. Working primarily in the OEM field, ATI produced integrated graphics cards for peak manufacturers such as IBM and Commodore. By 1987, ATI had grown into an independent graphics card retailer, introducing EGA Wonder and VGA Wonder card product lines that year. 184. In the early 90s they released products able to process graphics without the CPU. In May 1991, the Mac 8. In 1992 the Mac 32, which offered improved memory bandwidth and GUI acceleration. ATI Technologies Incorporated went public in 1993, with shares listed on Nasdaq and on the Toronto Stock Exchange. ATI's former Silicon Valley office in 1994, the Mac 64 accelerator debuted, powering the Graphics Expression and Graphics Pro Turbo, offering hardware support for YUV to RGB color space conversion in addition to hardware zoom. Early techniques of hardware-based video acceleration. ATI introduced its first combination of 2D and 3D accelerator under the name 3D Rage. This chip was based on the Mac 64, but it featured elemental 3D acceleration. The ATI Rageline powered almost the entire range of ATI graphics products. In particular, the Rage Pro was one of the first viable 2D plus 3D alternatives to 3D FX's 3D only Voodoo chipset. 3D acceleration in the Rage line advanced from the basic functionality within the initial 3D Rage to a more advanced DirectX 6.0 accelerator in 1999. Rage 128. The All-in-Wonder product line, introduced in 1996, was the first combination of integrated graphics chip with TV tuner card and the first chip that enabled display of computer graphics on a TV set. 185. The cards featured 3D acceleration powered by ATI's 3D Rage 2, 64-bit 2D performance, TV quality video acceleration, analog video capture, TV tuner functionality, flicker-free TV out and stereo TV audio reception. ATI entered the mobile computing sector by introducing 3D graphics acceleration to laptops in 1996. The mobility product line had to meet requirements different from those of desktop PCs, such as minimized power usage, reduced heat output, TMDS output capabilities for laptop screens, and maximized integration. In 1997, ATI acquired Pixel Labs' graphics assets, which included 40 engineers. The Radeon line of graphics products was unveiled in 2000. The initial Radeon graphics processing unit offered an all-new design with DirectX 7.0 3D acceleration, video acceleration, and 2D acceleration. Technology developed for a specific Radeon generation could be built in varying levels of features and ATI Graphics Solution Rev 3 from 1985/1986. Supporting Hercules graphics. As the PCB reveals, the layout dates from 1985, whereas the marking on the central chip CW16800 says 8639, meaning that chip was manufactured in week 39, 1986. Notice UM6845 ECRT controller. This card uses the ISA 8-bit interface. ATI VGA Wonder with 256 kilobytes AM performance in order to provide products suited for the entire market range, from high-end to budget to mobile versions. In 2000, ATI acquired Artex, which engineered the Flipper graphics chip used in the Nintendo GameCube game console. They also created a modified version of the chip, codenamed Hollywood, for the successor of the GameCube, the Wii. Microsoft contracted ATI to design the graphics core, codenamed Xenos, for the Xbox 360. Later in 2005, ATI acquired Trayon's cable modem silicon intellectual property, strengthening their lead in the consumer digital television market. 186. K.Y. Ho remained as chairman of the board until he retired in November 2005. Dave Orton replaced him as the president and CEO of the organization. On the 24th of July 2006, A joint announcement revealed that Advanced Micro Devices would acquire ATI in a deal valued at $5.6 billion. 187. The acquisition consideration closed on October 25, 2006, 188, and included over $2 billion financed from a loan and 56 million shares of AMD stock. 189. ATI's operations became part of the AMD Graphics Product Group, GPG. 190, and ATI's CEO Dave Orton became the Executive Vice President of Visual and Media Businesses at AMD until his resignation in 2007. 191. The top-level management was reorganized with the Senior Vice President and General Manager and the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Consumer Electronics Group, both of whom would report to the CEO of AMD. 192. On the 30th of August, 2010, John Tricola announced that AMD would retire the ATI brand for its graphics chipsets in favor of the AMD name. 193. Radeon within AMD. In 2008, the ATI division of AMD released the Triscale microarchitecture implementing a unified shader model. This design replaced the previous fixed-function hardware of previous graphics cards with multi-purpose, programmable shaders. Initially released as part of the GPU for the Xbox 360, this technology would go on to be used in Radeon-branded HD 2000 parts. 3 generations of Triscale would be designed and used in parts from 2008 to 2014. Combined GPU and CPU divisions. In a 2009 restructuring, AMD merged the CPU and GPU divisions to support the company's APUS, which fused both graphics and general-purpose processing. 194, 195. In 2011, AMD released the successor to Triscale, Graphics Core Next, GCN. 196. This new microarchitecture emphasized pure compute capability in addition to graphics processing, with a particular aim of supporting heterogeneous computing on AMD's APUS. GCN's reduced instruction set ISA allowed for significantly increased compute capability over Triscale's very long instruction word ISA. Since GCN's introduction with the HD 7970, 5 generations of the GCN architecture have been produced from 2008 through at least 2017. 197. Radeon Technologies Group. In September 2015, AMD separated the Graphics Technology division of the company into an independent internal unit called the Radeon Technologies Group, RTG, headed by Raja Koduri. 198. This gave the Graphics division of AMD autonomy in product design and marketing. 199. 200. The RTG then went on to create and release the Polaris and Vega microarchitectures released in 2016 and 2017, respectively. 201, 202, in particular the Vega, or 5th generation GCN, microarchitecture includes a number of major revisions to improve performance and compute capabilities. 203. 204. In November 2017, Raja Koduri left RTG. 205, and CEO and President Lisa Su took his position. In January 2018, it was reported that 2 industry veterans joined RTG, namely Mike Rayfield as Senior Vice President and General Manager of RTG, and David Wang as Senior Vice President of Engineering for RTG. 206. In January 2020, AMD announced that its second-generation RDNA graphics architecture was in development, with the aim of competing with the NVIDIA RTX graphics products for performance leadership. In October 2020, AMD announced their new RX 6000 Series 207 series GPUs, their first high-end product based on RDNA 2 and capable of handling ray tracing natively, aiming to challenge NVIDIA RTX 3000 GPUs. Semi-custom and game console products. In 2012, AMD's then CEO Rory Reid began a program to offer semi-custom designs. 208, 209, rather than AMD simply designing and offering a single product. Potential customers could work with AMD to design a custom chip based on AMD's intellectual property. Customers pay a non-recurring engineering fee for design and development, and a purchase price for the resulting semi-custom products. In particular, AMD noted their unique position of offering both x86 and graphics intellectual property. These semi-custom designs would have design wins as the APUS in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and the subsequent PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Xbox Series and PlayStation 5. 210, 211, 212, 150, 153, 213. Financially, these semi-custom products would represent a majority of the company's revenue in 2016. 214, 215. In November 2017, AMD and Intel announced that Intel would market a product combining in a single package an Intel Core CPU, a semi-custom AMD Radeon GPU and HBM2 memory. 216. Other hardware. AMD motherboard chipsets. Before the launch of Athlon 64 processors in 2003, AMD designed chipsets for their processors spanning K6 and K7 processor generations. The chipsets include the AMD 640, AMD 751, and the AMD 761 chipsets. The situation changed in 2003 with the release of Athlon 64 processors, and AMD chose not to further design its own chipsets for its desktop processors while opening the desktop platform to allow other firms to design chipsets. This was the open platform management architecture, with ATI, VIA and SAIS developing their own chipset for Athlon 64 processors and later Athlon 64X2 and Athlon 64X processors, including the Quad-FX platform chipset from NVIDIA. The initiative went further with the release of Octron server processors as AMD stopped the design of server chipsets in 2004 after releasing the AMD 8111 chipset, and again opened the server platform for firms to develop chipsets for Octron processors. As of today, NVIDIA and Broadcom are the sole designing firms of server chipsets for Octron processors. As the company completed the acquisition of ATI Technologies in 2006, the firm gained the ATI design team for chipsets which previously designed the Radeon Express 200 and the Radeon Express 3200 chipsets. AMD then renamed the chipsets for AMD processors under AMD branding. For instance, the Crossfire Express 3200 chipset was renamed as AMD 580X Crossfire chipset. In February 2007, AMD announced its first AMD-branded chipset since 2004 with the release of the AMD 690G chipset, previously under their development codename RS690, targeted at mainstream IGP computing. It was the industry's first to implement a HDMI 1.2 port on motherboards, shipping for more than 1 million units. While ATI had aimed at releasing an Intel IGP chipset, the plan was scrapped and the inventories of Radeon Express 1250, codenamed RS600, sold under ATI brand, was sold to two OEMs, ABIT and ASRock. Although AMD stated the firm would still produce Intel chipsets, Intel had not granted the license of 1333 MHz FSB to ATI. On the 15th of November, 2007, AMD announced a new chipset series portfolio. The AMD 7 series chipsets covering from the enthusiast multigraphics segment to the value IGP segment. To replace the AMD 4